Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope that you're doing well at this moment, and that whenever and wherever you are, as you hear this recording, that you are kind of going with the flow of these energies lately, that you're noticing them. You're trying to use your quantum sight, I hope. Everybody has it. On Saturdays, for the next few Saturdays, we're going to be talking more and more about clairvoyance and using that second sight or astral sight. A lot of people who go blind end up being able to see with their astral eyes, your quantum vision. And I've noticed yesterday when I got finished with the show and I published it, with my quantum sight, I was able to see the pink in the sky and the purple. But when I lowered my energy down to my normal eyes, and it was just gray clouds mixed with blue. And that was it. And then I switched back up to my quantum sight. You could do this when you push your, or you touch your third eye and you say Ki Asha 3 times. That's the Pleiadian gift they gave us, and it helps to open your third eye. It's a mantra, but you also connect to your 8th chakra and your soul star chakra, and most of you probably should have that open by now. I'm guessing it's probably open because it's how we get to the 5th dimension, how we raise our vibrations up more. But yesterday I saw this pink energy in the sky, and it was nurturing and loving. And the purple energy, I think, was possibly just to alleviate us of our fears, shake them loose so we can feel them, know them, acknowledge them, and ultimately release them. But it came with the pink love energy of trying to help us get through it. I'm starting the show really late. My phone wasn't charged. I plugged my phone in and forgot to plug the other end of the charger into the wall. Oops. And I didn't have enough charge to continue a whole show, so I've been waiting a couple hours, and during my couple hours, I finally watched Outlander for the very first time. 3 times I've been trying to watch this, and I couldn't get through that first scene of the show where she's a nurse in World War, I don't know, 1 or 2. And anyway, it was just so gross that I was, every time I'd start to watch it and I'd be like, oh no, just shut off right away. It's like I expect that if I try to watch a Grey's Anatomy, but usually I'll watch 1 episode of that and then I'm out for like another 2 or 3 months before I watch another episode. So Grey's Anatomy, I've literally watched, it's like a 20-year-old show, and I've watched 2 episodes. I don't want to see the yucky things, But I watched Outlander, and so Cheryl, if you're listening, one of my good friends from Canada, she's been telling me, you got to watch the show. It's a really weird and interesting show. This woman accidentally finds a portal in Scotland and goes back in time. And I don't know what else happens other than that. She's back in time, and she's met up with a roving band of men, Scotsmen, and ends up traveling with them. And she's like really weirded out and confused, like, how is this even happening? And they're suspicious of her, and that's all I know because I just started watching the show. But I've been reading this book, and another thing, we've had a lot of spottiness as far as the internet is concerned. I'd like to hear from you guys if you've had internet issues also, and tell me where, if you write me, just tell me where you live. I mean, I don't know if it's just the weather here has been really, really bad. I mean, we've had one clear blue sky in the past 2.5 weeks. And it's been overcast and gray and cloudy for almost the whole time. And so I've been feeling still that anxiety from, a few things that have been happening the past few days. And I don't know, I think a lot of people might be feeling that anxiety. I've noticed that when I take deep breaths and I release, just it helps. I have a visualization that helps. If I imagine I have a straw that's like 10 feet long and I'm blowing all the negative energy into the straw and it's going to go 10 feet away from me or 12 feet away from me on the outside of my huge 12th chakra aura now. That seems to be helping, actually. So, I mean, hopefully that will help you guys if you're going through this, because it's been, I don't know, I've been just really, I didn't get out of my pajamas all day long. Only like an hour ago, I put on a normal t-shirt. I wanted to pop popcorn. I thought I don't want to be in my bathrobe to do that. I don't want grease on my bathrobe, or I don't want my bathrobe smelling like food. So I don't know. Just that was the other thing. I'm going to tell you guys. I bet you're having dreams, like really weird dreams. But venting, a lot of venting dreams. This morning, I had a dream that was venting out like 20 or 30 things in one dream. It's like I found myself, and it wasn't a timeline. It was just all these thoughts had been jumbled up in my mind, all unraveled and vented out at once in the form of this insane dream in which, for whatever reason, I flew back to the United States and I was going to a wedding, and my aunts started to control me, which is not even like their personalities at all. They're really sweet people. But in my dream, they weren't. And it wasn't a timeline shift or hop. It was just my venting. And I was supposed to get married to a guy that I didn't know, but then I loved him and knew him, but then I didn't know him. It was just totally weird. So maybe it was venting out the feeling of, if I did get married, I might not really truly know the guy I'm going to marry. And I had this is really insane. This is not true in real life at all. I had an insane rash covering my torso, and it smelled really bad. And no matter how much I bathed or whatever, it still smelled. And people kept commenting. It's like, I don't smell bad. I don't have a rash, but I had like this massive fungal infection in my skin in my dream. I think probably during the dream, I had an itch, on my stomach or something, and I went to itch myself, and then that incorporated itself into the dream somehow. It's like I was venting out fears I didn't even know I had, like that. And I had this, so then I saw my oldest son, and my aunts forced him to wear a dress for my wedding out of quote unquote respect because he was born a girl. And I felt helpless to say anything or do anything about it. So I think there I was venting out people's judgment of my son becoming transgender, a trans man. And I was venting out the idea that he would be helpless to defend himself against people that were bigger or stronger or older than him somehow, that he would feel compelled to comply, but he would feel really bad. And then I felt like helpless that I couldn't be there to protect him. And then I felt like, so it's like all these bizarre, like venting out of emotions. And it was like, then I had and then it was like kind of the same dream, but then later I was with my uncle, who is, and in real life, he really truly is the the CFO, basically, the financial director, or I don't know. Is it the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, literally for the state of Colorado? That's my Uncle John. So that's like his job is balancing the budget for the state of Colorado. So he's like famous in Colorado, right? And so in my dream, and if he's so like wealthy, or at least I'm sure they pay him good money, right? He's balancing the books constantly. And they must love him now, since, you know, weed is legal and everyone's making a fortune there with the marijuana. But in my dream, he was dressed like he normally dresses. He looks like an FBI agent. He's always like wearing a black trench coat. And in my dream, that's what, well, at least the last time I saw him, that's what he's wearing. I don't know if he always wears out. I know he wears out the one time I saw him in like 20 years. And my youngest, my oldest kid, when he was very little, during my dad's funeral, looked at him and said, "You're a CIA agent, aren't you? I don't trust the government. They put red dye in everything and they make people act bad." And just started like spewing out all these accusatory things. And my kid was only 2 at the time, and it was hilarious. And everyone at the table, like, we're all mourning the loss of my dad. We just buried my dad. And here my kid is spewing out all these accusatory things because my uncle worked for the government. And it was kind of hilarious, right? So I think all this stuff is like venting from, like, my dad died when my youngest was almost 1. 6 days after my dad died, my youngest turned 1. So, so it's like going back almost 16 years ago. So it was like whatever weirdness and emotions I had from then. And I felt like people had been judging my father falsely, not really knowing him and thinking they knew him. And I feel like a lot of people like think they know me in my family, but they don't bother to ask anything about me at all. They literally, if they don't see my postings when I advertise Metaphysical Soul Speak and they don't listen to my show, they literally don't know anything about me. I don't put anything out there anymore. I used to. I don't even tell people, like, I have like where I live, like basically, but like nothing. I don't really have any pictures anymore. I just don't really, I don't know. I kind of felt like I don't want to be a source of entertainment for my family and friends to sit around and judge me. And I don't know if that's true, if they really do, but I vented all that out in this dream because that's what was happening. It was like so strange and interesting. I woke up and I'm like, well, none of that's true and none of that's going to happen. But here I'm with my uncle, who's the CFO of Colorado State, and we're on a bus. It's like, if he's so wealthy, why couldn't we take his car? Did he not want me in his car because I smelled? It was like so, the dream itself was insane. It made me venting out taking buses because I don't like taking buses. It was all it was like a big glob. It was like The Blob. It's like, do you guys remember the 1950s movie The Blob, where this big blob is going through the street and absorbing people and things and cars, and every time it absorbs something, it gets bigger? That's how I feel. Like, that this dream was like, as it went along, all my fears got bigger and bigger. But all my fears, it was like grabbing up all my fears. It was like a blob grabbing my fears, even though I didn't see that imagery. Now that I look back, it's like, yeah, it was like everything, But he was asking me, so how are you doing? And he was like very pointed, and he wasn't smiling and acting genuine like he gave a crap about me. He was looking at me like judgmental. And that's not who he is at all. But in my dream, that's who he was. And he was like, so how are you doing? How's your money situation? You're going to run out of money soon. So, you know, when your son turns 18, then what are you going to do for money? You know, and he was just like yelling at me almost, you know, like, what are you going to do? What do you know, what are your plans? How much money are you making? And I'm just like, none of this is your business. None of this is your life. Why are you trying to make it mine? You know, and I felt like I was venting out authority and judgmental, and men trying to control me as a woman. Like, it was like all these crazy like fears or experiences, and none of my family ever treated me bad like that. They're very sweet people. So I don't know why they were at the heart of this. In particular. So I'm like analyzing. So all day long I've been analyzing this crazy dream. But I remember looking at him and I said, well, I have a really good amount of money in an investment that I just made, and it's doing extremely well. And pretty soon I'm going to be able to buy a house, and pretty soon everything is going to work out, and I'm going to have a really good and happy life soon. But while I was saying it, I was feeling internally that it might not be true, that it might be a scam, and I might be taken, and I might be like losing everything, and I might be homeless in a year. And so like I was aware of all of those emotions in my dream. So I vented all of that crap out. So, I mean, it was like a doozy of a dream, you know, and I accept that it is gone. I completely and totally accept that it is gone now, that those venting, thank God. But it's still been some feelings, residualness has been sitting with me heavily for the day. You know, just things, just missing my friends. I was telling my kid about one of my friends, Malik, God rest his soul. He was really young. He was younger than me. When I was like 38, he was like 32. So he was 6 years younger than me. And a few years back, he had asked to add me on LinkedIn, and it took me a few days to get around to my LinkedIn. I never go to LinkedIn, and I just happened to go there. I'm like, oh my God, Malik, he found me. I had lost his phone number and he'd lost mine, and I had moved out of the country, and so we lost touch. And so I added him on LinkedIn, and I was so happy, and I wrote him a letter saying, hey, I'm so happy to you know, find you on LinkedIn. And I just realized, how come we never added each other on Facebook? That's crazy, right? So I'm going to go do that now. So then I went to Facebook and I added him on Facebook, and he didn't add me like for a few hours, and like he didn't add me, you know. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll write him a letter. So I wrote him like a little blurb on Facebook, and then I thought, well, if I post to his page, he'll see it. And it said that he had been online like 2 days ago or something like that, or the day before. I'm like, well, he'll add me. So I wrote him a little thing saying, hey, just for the record, I added you on LinkedIn. I added you here. You know, I haven't heard back from you in a couple days, and I miss you a lot. And I just want to let you know, I added you, so add me so we could be in touch. And an hour later, I got an email from one of his friends saying Malik dropped dead yesterday. That's why you haven't heard from him. And no one really knew why. He just, one day he was fine. You know, he was just completely fine. And then all of a sudden, boom, gone. And they think it was like an aneurysm or something. And I was just like floored. So today I've been missing Malik. I've been really missing him. And some of my other friends, so many of my friends have died. And I think that it's taken me like a long time to process, because I've experienced so many deaths in such a short span of time that I've been kind of paralyzed with fear at the idea of making new friends and of going out and being social, because you never know. I had a friend here in Cuenca, and we started doing stuff together, And all of a sudden she stopped writing me, and I fear the worst. And about 2 weeks ago, I started thinking about my friend Charlie, and I thought, I'm gonna go over there. And I told my son, "Have you seen Charlie? Have you gone over to his bar lately? Is he at like a bar/restaurant?" And he's like, "Yeah, I've been over there a couple times, but it's always closed when I go." And I'm like, "That's not a good sign." And then I ran into my friends, and they said, "Yeah, Charlie died of a heart attack in his bar." So it's like I keep getting feelings that people are dead or dying, and then I find out later it was true. And I had this intense fear that my son, something happened to him, but I wrote him and he told me off, which was weird. We weren't fighting or anything. He just kind of laid into me and rejected me, and I was like, oh, all right. So maybe the thing that was wrong there is just that he was having a bad day, moody Pisces, or working out some issues from childhood. I mean, nobody gets out unscathed from childhood. Even if they have good parents, like bad crap happens even if you have good parents, and good crap happens to you if you have bad parents, I think. It's like I had some good parents and some bad parents, and some good things and some bad things, but at least my kid is alive, so I'm happy about that. I mean, his health has been bad, so I've been wondering. I think he has pneumonia or something, bronchitis or something. So I've been going through these weird changes in my spirit body and in my mind, and my body's just getting rid of a lot of venting, like a lot of emotions. And also, and you know what? Oh, all right. This is what my higher guidance is telling me now. This is for all of you. Okay. When you start a diet like keto, and it's a long-term thing where you're getting rid of not only fat cells, but the toxins. The toxins are actually your toxic emotions that you've buried because you were afraid to get into it at that moment. So like if someone dies and you don't grieve, and then you just kind of, I'm going to just put that one away, tuck it away, and put it there for another day, and then maybe you gain half a pound or a pound. It depends on, if you didn't care for them, you only gained an ounce. I'm just kidding. But anyway, higher guidance just said a lot of times the toxins. But see, the reason why you have fat in your body is because of the toxins in your body. And I think when you're stressed out and you're not eating right, you're not sleeping right, you're not drinking enough water or exercising or getting enough sunshine, your body can't detox from the environmental pollution, just breathing in exhaust from buses or cars or whatever. And when you're grieving, it all gets kind of congealed together, or when you're going through something hard and it stays in your body. And I think that in your negative emotions might attract negative toxins. I don't know. It's somehow connected. And I'm muscle testing like crazy right now. It's like, yes. So everything I'm saying is true, but I mean, I don't know if I'm expressing it correctly, but so when you go through a diet and you're losing the fat, then in the cells, then you're also losing the toxins in the cells. And as you lose the toxins in the cells, what happens is you start grieving and venting out more pent up emotions. Yeah, and I'm getting a yes on that. So crazy, right? I had no idea that that's like so weirdly and linked like that. So as you start to detox and burn off the ketones and you're getting the junk out of your body, you're literally getting the junk out of your emotional and mental bodies as well. And spiritual bodies, God's telling me right now. Well, that was crazy. I did not know that. Okay, I'm going to read a little paragraph and a half from the book Karma Transformed by Dr. Kelly Randolph Bennett and Charlie Romney Brown. Dr. Bennett treated my son and I with brainwave optimization therapy, which is he hooks electrodes to our head, and we get to literally hear the sounds of our own brain, and we get to hear its patterns, and it's a way you could train your brain to stop having anything. I mean, for us, we were working on ADHD and post-traumatic stress disorder, which both my kids and I have all three of those things, and it really helped quite a bit. It was extraordinary, but Dr. Bennett started channeling God a number of years ago, and he has written 3 books, and this is his most recent book, and they were here in Cuenca, but they just moved to Lake Chapala in Mexico. So if you ever happen to be there, you could go get treatment from him. He is a light worker, bright, shiny light worker. He's also a rocket scientist. Literally, he was an aeronautical engineer for NASA, I think. NASA. So pretty crazy, like literally a rocket scientist and also very deeply spiritual. So he has both sides of his brain like completely intact, like functioning. So he uses logic and reason, but also he has good emotional intelligence. And I find a lot of wisdom in his books, but he's channeling God in the book. So it's basically God's words, but God will only appear to us or give us words that we relate to. So this is like kind of, his form of language, Dr. Bennett's form of language. He's very... See, I was born in 1968, and that was when he graduated from university. So gives you an idea of what age. I think he's like 86 or something. I don't know. I can't do the math right now. But anyway, this is what God has to say. They were having a conversation. And he says, the closer to being real that you are, the better our communication, and the faster your evolutionary pace. So do not waste precious time and energy being something that you are not. We love you who you are, as you are, warts and all. That's what God said. And then Dr. Bennett says, it's good to be reminded that you love us as we are. And this is what God said. You are to love others in the same manner because you are unifying with us. Everyone has quote unquote warts. Nevertheless, your love can make the warts insignificant. Everyone needs to be loved for who they can become. Think of yourself in this way, and many obstacles, interpersonal and otherwise, will fade into oblivion. Self-analysis is useful, but love is healing. Practice love and bring out the best in yourself and others. Use less analysis and more love. Learn to love each person in the way that they need to be loved, because everyone is unique in their requirement for caring. What quality of caring brings out the best in you? So I read that and I thought, maybe that's important that I mention that to you guys, because people do accept love in different ways. It's really weird. Like for me, it was always like with affection. If somebody is hugging me and kissing my forehead like my parents used to do, then I know that I am loved. That's how I receive love. And my husband that I was married to, I haven't been married to him since 2007 or 2008, is actually, I filed for divorce in 2008. So it was like that long ago, 11 years ago. I've almost been away from him as long as I was with him by this time. But anyway, he was very affectionate, and I kept like hugging him, and he wasn't like receiving the love somehow. It was very weird. And then after having a couple conversations with him, it made me realize that his mom wasn't very affectionate, but she would make him pancakes, and she would make him eggs, and she'd make him breakfast, and she would get up out of bed early in the morning and make him a meal, and she cooked for him constantly. And so when I cooked for him, that's when he knew I loved him. It was through food. See, I don't equate food with love, so I'm like, so like, I don't know, I think we had a conversation about something, and I was like, I need a hug. And he's like, well, I was going to make you food. I'm like, well, I want to hug more. I don't care. I know I could go 2 days without eating. I don't care about food. If you want to give me a hug, though, that would be helpful. And he kind of mentioned it like, oh, yeah, food is, it's how I show you I love you, is by cooking you food. I'm like, oh, well, that's not how I want to be loved. I want to actually literally be physically held. I want to be, like your arms around me. I want to know that I feel safe and protected, by your arms. That's how I know that I'm loved. So it made me realize that there's different ways that different people will feel and accept and receive love. We're all different in our personalities and our styles and mannerisms. And, it's like we're all very, very different. So, I just wanted to read that to you. And because if you're in a relationship and you guys aren't really totally, like one of you wants to do one thing for the other and the other one wants to do something different, and you guys aren't really gelling with that. Like, why you keep mentioning food all the time? Like, my husband was constantly 9 a.m. I'd be having my first sip of coffee for the day, and he's like, what do you want for dinner? And I'm like, why are you bringing up dinner? Like, dude, let me have my coffee. I'd be so pissed off at him, It's like, why are you so obsessed with food? It's no wonder you're not just this huge obese person. And he wasn't. He was in great shape, but that was his love, was his food, And when he needed comfort, he'd go eat a whole pie. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? But then after I figured it out, I was like, oh, all right, yeah, cool. I could see like when you're upset eating some Haagen-Dazs, but that's chocolate and that's the endorphin rush, For me, it was never about the food. It was about like the chemicals in the food, like coffee. I want the alkaloids, when I'm depressed, I'd rather smoke weed than eat food. And when I smoke weed, I don't eat food. I meditate and I connect with God in a much deeper way. So I have a whole different way of being in the world than other people. And so do you. We are all totally unique individuals. It's a wonder that any of us get along, just to be honest. But I don't know. It's crazy, right? Okay, so I'm going to read Schumann Resonance. Disclosurenews.it. They put the wrong date, but I'm sure this is today's 1700 report. Says, even today, a day of medium activity started around midnight, and central part was from 5 to 9, during which the strongest peak of today occurred. It was 47 hertz at 7:40. After this animated phase, there was a reduction in the variations and a few isolated peaks around 26 hertz. But after 13:30, it was calm. So that was in Italy. Now, in California, according to the heartmath.org website, in California, they started off at 90 hertz at midnight, and they went only up to 92 hertz at 4 a.m. And Hafuf, Saudi Arabia, started off at 70 and ended up at 68 by 4 a.m. At midnight, Lithuania was at 148 hertz frequency and ended up at 151 by 4 a.m. And let's see here. Alberta, Canada started off at 129 hertz frequency, and they went up to 134 by 4 a.m. And Northland, New Zealand, they saw values of 67 and then went down to 58 by 4 a.m. All right. And In Hulului, South Africa, they started off at 17 hertz frequency and ended up at 0. So there's another cross now, like before. So where Hofuf was at 0. See, they crossed. Let's see, where were they both when they crossed? Hofuf was at 57. And it looks like Hulului is at 58 when they made an X pattern. So it would not surprise me, based on what's happened before, that the values for Hulului will now remain at 0 for a while Hofuf will keep going. So it's like these lines are doing the same thing but opposite of each other. Again, I don't even understand the Schumann resonance very much. I don't know. I don't think anyone really knows. We just know that it changes, and the fluctuations do cause some... I don't know if the fluctuations are what causing it, or whatever's causing the fluctuations are causing mental fogginess in us, and it creates a lot of ascension symptoms in us as well. So it's been 7.83 more or less for, since it was like first discovered, and suddenly out of nowhere it's absolutely it's going crazy. I mean, 129 is a lot bigger than 7, right? So it's weird. I'm seeing a picture of Mexico that I saw the other day, and the other day when I saw it, it was the park that they're showing from above, like a drone view. It was green, and now it's red. Well, that means I'm on another timeline again. Oh, and one of the streets has blue in it, and it didn't have that before. Looks like someone painted the street or something. Yeah, this is weird. Because I remember this picture, because I remember it looking interesting to me. It's like an apartment complex with like little parks inside this massive apartment complex, and it was all grass, and the grass is green, and now the grass is red on this picture. I mean, unless they doctored the picture, but it's usually the same like 10 or 20 pictures they keep going through. So I don't know. It's so disturbing. It's like when you hop a timeline, it's only 2% different. So if you have a conscious memory of where you just were, it's like, wait a minute. So I don't know. All right, I'm going to go into A Course in Miracles, acim.org, and we are on lesson 106. And that is, let me be still and listen to the truth. Let me be still and listen to the truth. So this is about laying your ego aside, not thinking about, your internal stuff, So let's see. Let me be still and listen to the truth. I am the messenger of God today. My voice is His to give what I receive. Let me be still and listen to the truth. So, I'm going to read the first paragraph of here. If you will lay aside the ego's voice, however loudly it may seem to call, if you will not accept its petty gifts that give you nothing that you really want, if you'll listen with an open mind that has not told you what salvation is, then you will hear the mighty voice of truth, quiet in power, strong in stillness, and completely certain in its messages. Listen and hear your Father speak to you through His appointed voice, which silences the thunder of the meaningless and shows the way to peace to those who cannot see. Be still today and listen to the truth. Do not be deceived by voices of the dead, which tell you they have found the source of life and offer it to you for your belief. Attend them not, but listen to the truth. Yeah, that's actually good advice. Don't ever take advice from the dead. But I think in this case, he means the unawakened ones, the ones who are still asleep. Don't listen. Don't take money advice from a broke man. Never trust a skinny chef. There's a bunch of these things. but yeah, so basically that's it. Just let me be still and listen to the truth. And that's it. That was lesson 106. I'm going to ask a series of questions and use my pendulum tonight to get some answers about what is happening with the world right now, right after this, when we come back. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's high time you did. It is the absolute easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's absolutely free. Second of all, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. You guys have known that I've been doing this for 8 months using the Anchor.fm app right on my cell phone, and I have done it everywhere, right? I have recorded this in my living room, my bedroom, little cafes in Quito, Ecuador, all over Cuenca. It's so absolutely easy to make your podcast, and editing is just a snap. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you, and it took me about 2.5 months to become syndicated, and now I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more, and so can you. You can make money from your podcast also, and there's no minimum requirement. You get paid from your very first listener. It is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So please, if you are interested in making a podcast of your very own, do not hesitate to start with Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Do you ever wish you could look into the next chapter in your book of life and see what's coming next? What does the universe have in store for you? I can help you with that. I will give you a Celtic cross reading, which is 10 cards, or you can ask me 3 questions, and I use 3 cards per question. So that's 9 cards, or I can channel your higher guidance, or maybe God directly for you. Maybe you want to talk to your dear departed Aunt Edna, because maybe you have a few questions and she was the smartest person you knew. If your deceased relatives are available or your ascended masters, I can channel them for you personally. Let me have 1 hour to show you the future in your next chapter of your book of life. Readings are $75, and it takes me an hour to an hour and a half to complete. And for this price, you will also be hooked up to the healing grid around the planet for free, which means yours truly, me, I will be giving you Reiki 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of your life. All you have to do is let me know. metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com, and we will explore your future together. Alright guys, I'm already connected to Prime Creator. Now I'm going to be asking these questions with a pendulum that I have over the questions. So basically, and I'm going to write the answers down as I go. But the first question I asked him earlier was, all is in perfect and divine order, yet we have free will. Is this a paradox? And the answer I got was yes. It is. Because even though everything is in divine order, we still, God has everything under control and in his hands, but he's not controlling it all. It's our, who we are. Our free will helps guide what happens. So even God doesn't know what's going to happen because we all have free will. It's pretty weird, right? Okay, God, I'm connected to you, and all right, here we go. My first question is about the fires that have been burning out of control all over the planet. Okay, and I'm getting yes, yes, that's true. I would like to ask, will the Earth ever be depleted of oxygen? And the answer I'm getting is no. Will the fires, will they be stopping soon? Okay, and I'm getting a yes. Can you give me, will be in a matter of years that'll be stopped? In a matter of months? Okay, on a scale of 1 to 12, like a clock, how many months will be? He's showing me about 2.5 months? Yeah, so 2.5 months. Okay, now are these fires, are they tied to our emotions? Are they burning out of control because of humans' emotions? I'm getting a no. That's good, right? I was thinking it might have been tied, but see, there we go. I'm glad to get the answers. Okay, now carbon emissions have reached a point of no return. We have hit that tipping point. I'm getting a yes. Okay, so can this be reversed at this late date if we all decided to stop using polluting cars? What if we all, I'm getting a no. No. So this is a crucial phase for us. Even electric vehicles, no, that's not going to help. All right. Will the extraterrestrials help us on this if we ask? Or can they help? I'm getting a yes, so we need to start asking the ETs to help us, the extraterrestrials. And also I have another question. Can prayer work to reverse this carbon emission trend? Can prayers work to actually, I'm getting a big yes. The pendulum is swinging clockwise in a circle, so yes. So you guys, let's just start praying. Can we get rid of fires with prayer? Yes. Prayer is the answer. Okay. 3 billion birds died in the past 50 years in North America. My question is, will these birds ever be repopulated? The species that died out. I'm getting a no. The birds will not be populated. They are just lost. I'd like to ask about the birds that died. Will they be reborn in the fifth dimension? The answer is no. It's just swinging back and forth. No. Is it possible that we will see brand new species of birds in the future? And I'm getting a big, big yes. So see, this landscape is changing. I'm getting a big yes for that. All right. Question 4, or topic 4. Volcanoes are very active lately. Should we be concerned, and will a supervolcano go off in our lifetime? Holy shit, I'm getting a yes. And ask that again. Okay. Will a supervolcano go off in our lifetime? Okay. I'm getting a yes. All right. I don't want to be an alarmist, but okay. So, do I have permission to ask how many years? Is it going to be more than 12 years? I'm getting a no. Is it going to be less than 12 years? I'm getting a yes. On a scale of a clock, can you show me where? It's looking like 5.5 years from now. We should watch out. In about 5.5 years from now, will a lot of people die from this? No. I'm writing people. Will people die? No. Okay, and see, that really concerns me. So if a super volcano is going to go off the next 5 years, will we have plenty of warning before it happens? Yes. Will there be plenty of evacuations? Yes. So warning and evacuations. So, okay, so that's good, right? So we're going to have that. Okay, will volcanoes change Earth's atmosphere permanently? Oh, this is a weird one. I'm getting a ready sign. So, do I have permission to ask about volcanoes? Okay. Will the volcanoes are going off now? Do they have the ability to change our atmosphere permanently? I'm getting a no. Will a super volcano change our atmosphere permanently? I'm getting a huge yes. So no to normal volcanoes and yes to a super volcano. So is it possible, God, that this is going to lead to an extinction level event, an ELE? When the super volcano goes off, will this lead to an extinction level event because of what happens to the atmosphere? I'm getting a no. Going to ask that one again. Will the super volcano that goes off, will it lead to a extinction level event? No, so no. I'm getting two no, so no. Phew. That one was a really hard question to ask. I was getting a little nervous, to be honest with that. All right. We're clipping right along with this one. I'm already on topic 5. All right. I have 10 topics I might add to if it goes really fast. All right. Do I have permission to ask about earthquakes? Great. Okay. There have been earthquakes all over the world lately, and some have been not that big but devastating, and others have been really hugely devastating. And I don't know. I just want to ask a question about earthquakes. Will there be a big one in California that will devastate all of the coastal cities? I'm getting a no. I'd like to have a no for that one because my son is in a coastal city. Thank God. Okay, now should we all over the earth start to be prepared for larger and larger earthquakes? The answer is a big yes. Oh my gosh. That is a big yes. I want to know about what do earthquakes do and what are they achieving? Are earthquakes releasing negative energy from the earth when they happen? Yes, I'm getting a big yes. Big yes. See, that was something that I felt was actually happening, that was true, but I didn't ever ask. I just assumed that was happening. So I'm glad that my intuition was correct on this. Okay. Hurricanes have been really bad lately. Like to ask, are they getting worse? Yes, they are. Great. Do hurricanes help the earth by releasing energy? I'm getting a yes, big yes. So that's going to write those down. Yes and a big yes. So, are they a result of people feeling helpless? Are hurricanes a result of people feeling helpless to help their world and their lives to get better? I'm getting a yes on that. So yeah, I've been feeling that was true, and I'll tell you why. Is first of all, water is related to emotions. Like the element of water is related to the cups and the tarot cards, and it's related to romance and relationships, but also just love and healing energy. And I've been feeling like people love the world very much, but they're not like able to do anything about it, really. You know, the government in the United States, the president is out of control. He's a megalomaniac. It's like Pinky finally took over the world in the form of Donald Trump. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch Pinky and the Brain on YouTube. Old Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain. It's like he set out to take over the world and just do whatever the hell he wants. And we're just totally helpless. And I think that emotionally, we have been devastated by what's happening. So God, are the hurricanes helping release our emotions, our sadness and depression? Yeah. Okay. Now, topic 7 is about ocean levels. So ocean levels have been rising. In Greenland, there's been, and in the Arctic Circle, there's been a lot of fires. And when this happens, as this is happening and things are heating up, more carbons, we're at that tipping point in the carbon emissions are heating up the upper atmosphere, as well as the fires. And then the fires, as they're burning, it's the temperature heating up the atmosphere. But in addition, it's dumping more carbon, because when trees are burned, what's left is like charcoal, which is basically carbon. But the particulate matter gets up into the upper atmosphere. And when this happens, it can block out the sun, but it can, it's taking our oxygen away. And so there's going to be more carbon than oxygen in the system, which is choking us out. It'll make us sicker. We'll get cancer. It'll be like, I'm not going to say we will get cancer, but the chances of cancer rates rising is definitely a possibility. So we have to do our best to keep ourselves healthy and not eat junk food and eat very well, right? So there's all this stuff going on. But as the fires in the Arctic Circle have been burning, and as the fires in Greenland have been burning, 197,000 tons of water have been dumped into the ocean every day for months now. Maybe it's total. No, it's like daily. Yeah, I think it's a daily thing. That's like devastating. And so I want to ask about the ocean levels rising, because it's been a huge concern for me. It's been, for a lot of people. So, okay, I'd like to ask a question about that. I'm getting the ready sign. Should people leave coastal cities because the ocean levels are rising? Okay, I'm saying yes. Will a surprising solution come up out of nowhere to help us with the ocean levels rising? I was thinking that would be. I'm getting a no. It's turning in a circle counterclockwise. That's a no. Nope. Okay, so would it be safe to buy a beach house now anywhere? Okay, I'm getting yes, but at what sea level is it? Should we, if you're going to buy a beach house now, so it's still okay to buy a beach house, but will some of the beach houses be flooded? Yes. Okay. So at what sea level? We're going to double the clock. So where 1 would be 1, we're going to say call that 2, and where 12 is, we'll call it 24. And if it's above 24, go to 24, and we'll ask for the higher number. So if there's a clock underneath my pendulum, how many feet above sea level should we be? Okay, so I'm getting 24. So let's let's triple that. What is safe? So now 12 on the clock face would be 36. 1 would be 3. So we're just going to, whatever number on the clock, will multiply by 3. What sea level, above sea level, would be the best possible place? I mean, like, if I buy a house that's this amount of feet above sea level, will I be safe? That's where I'll be completely safe from the ocean water rising. Okay, so we're still getting 36. So let's quadruple it now, 48 feet. Okay, so is 48 feet still, is 48 feet above sea level safe? I'm getting no. All right, let's put in terms of 100 then. 1 on the clock face would be 100, 2 would be 200, 12 would be 1200. How many feet above sea level is the safest place for people to buy a house now? All right, I'm getting 500 feet above sea level would be the safest place. So 500 feet above. Now, I'd like to ask, is this just because of the ocean waves? I'm getting no. Is this because of tsunamis? I'm getting yes. Because of tsunamis. I'm writing this down. Because of tsunamis. Okay, so that's good to know, right? All right, so okay, let's just go into that then. Will tsunamis continue to happen? I'm getting a yes. So I'm writing this question down. Will tsunamis continue to happen? Yes. And okay, so I guess we'll just add a category. I wasn't going to do the tsunami category. So, okay, will they continue to happen? And will there be tsunamis in the near future that are absolutely devastating? I'm getting yes. So, okay. And can you tell me how many there are going to be in the next 5 years? In the next 5 years, can you tell me, please, how many tsunamis will be using clock face? If you go to 12, we'll ask a bigger number, okay? How many devastating tsunamis will happen in the next 5 years? All right, so 3 in 5 years. Will we have a devastating tsunami in the next year? Yes. Will all 3 of them happen in the next year? No. Okay. So 1 in the next year. Do I have permission to ask what city this is going to be in? I'm getting a no. So if you live in a place where a tsunami can possibly hit, I'm thinking maybe you might want to move to 500 feet above sea level. I'm not allowed to know. Some things you're just not allowed to know. It's just, you're not allowed to know. It's just all of shock and surprise when it happens. All right, my next topic is about the plastic floating islands that are in the ocean. As humans have been dumping their trash in the ocean, or just like people just, throw stuff away on the beach, like it's the world is their garbage can. A lot of the stuff floats out to the center of the sea, and there's a phenomenon called aggregation. Like attracts like, and in the ocean, plastic isn't a part of the ecosystem, isn't normal. And so what happens is that the plastic ends up kind of congealing and globbing, kind of like the blob, like a big blob. And they've discovered these massive plastic floating islands in the ocean because the plastic is all aggregating together. They even found one of condoms, which is totally disgusting. Used condoms have been congealing and making a floating rubber island. And this has had like a great amount of impact on the ocean life and the quality of the sea life for the animals that live there. And it's going to take billions of dollars to clean it up. And one of the islands they're starting to clean up now, the one that's off the coast of California. And then there's one in the Atlantic as well. And as they come across it, it's like devastating, but they can't clean up the whole thing at once. It's like they've got to pull it up, and it's just so heavy, laden with the water, and it's just really a lot of work. And I have no idea what they're going to do with the plastic when they get it, But I think that the plastic toxins are leaching into the oceans, and as this is happening, I'm sure it's creating mutations and damage to the DNA of all the cetaceans and the fish that live there. Cetaceans are like whales and dolphins, porpoises, but all the ocean life, they're like, humans are really devastating the planet, and this is one way in which they are devastating the planet. So God, I'm going to talk about the plastic floating islands. Am I allowed to ask about this? Okay. Now, one thing that has come up, guys, before I ask a question, is that there have been a recent discovery in the past few years of a plastic-eating bacteria that is starting to eat away the plastic and it's getting rid of it. So like nature has developed a way to combat the plastic floating islands. It's just to eat them. If you can't go around it or over it or under it, I guess you eat right through it. And that's what nature's doing. It's really, really crazy. So I'm going to ask questions about this. So I'm asking, may I ask a question? I'm getting a yes. And now I'm getting the go ahead, ready to ask sign. All right. Will bacteria be able to eat through all of these plastic floating islands if we don't get to clean them up? The answer is yes. But at what cost? I'm going to ask you another question about that. Is this bacteria going to be harmful to the ocean life? The answer is no. Is this bacteria harmful to man? The answer is no. Well, once the bacteria eats the plastic, will it just remain there? Will it die off when there's no more plastic? No. That's really weird. How many years is it going to take for it to, okay, on a scale of 1 to 12, if it's more than 12, go to 12, we'll ask more. But how many years will it take for the bacteria to eat through these plastic floating islands? Okay, it's pointing towards 12. If we're going to double that, how many years will it be? Okay, we're going to have to triple that. So say 12 is 36, so if it's more than 36 years, okay, it's not. All right, good. So it's going to be like 27 years. 27 years for the plastic to be eaten away by the bacteria. And is that provided that no other plastic is added to the ocean? Yes. Is the chance of no other plastic being added to the ocean true? No. People still be throwing plastic in the ocean. It's so sad. It's like, what the hell? When I was in Guatemala, guys, I met this lady who had asked me for money for an abortion because she was terrified. She was a prostitute, and she had gotten pregnant, and she didn't have any money or resources because it's not that she wasn't a good prostitute, it's just that it was a very teeny tiny town and people couldn't pay her very much. And so she was just living off of scraps. And It was very sad. So I gave her money for an abortion. I feel like everyone has a right to do with their body what they will, and I guess she couldn't afford condoms that day, and that's why it happened. And it was just very, very sad. It was in Livingstone, in the only African settlement territory in Guatemala. Sounds weird, but literally these people are from Africa, and I did a show on that a few months back. But while we were talking and we're walking along the Caribbean Sea together, this very teeny tiny part of Guatemala coastline is on the Atlantic side in the Caribbean, and you could see Belize from there. It was very weird. It gave me such an eerie feeling being there. There's a lot of voodoo, a lot of crazy energy there. And we were there for 8 days. And anyway, we're walking. I was walking with this lady, and she was drinking a Coca-Cola. And when she was finished, she put the lid back on, and she just threw it on the ground. And I was really hurt by that, But I didn't pick it up because I didn't want to make her feel bad about herself in yet one more other way, So I was like trying to take care of her emotionally and not worry about what she's doing. But my oldest kid was walking with me, and we were like looking at each other like, oh my God, we need to get out of here. This is the mentality of the people here. Even though, for the most part, it was a very weird community, to be honest. It was some good things, some weird things. Some of the people are very sweet, just like everywhere, some good, some bad. But that was one thing that bothered me. And then I took a long walk for hours along the Caribbean Sea, and there was plastic everywhere. I mean, just people throwing stuff away. And I was really upset, and I asked the guy that we were with, I'm like, can you please tell me, about, like, why do people throw stuff away? Because I assumed it was the people living there. And he said, oh, no, Mommy, don't worry. It's not us doing this. What happens is the Caribbean, our coastline here, catches all of the plastic from the ocean. It just shows up. And Americans or Canadians or people from Europe will come, and they'll get really upset about it, and they'll arrange a $30,000 coastal cleanup, and they'll pay our whole community to go out and clean it up, and we do. And then a month later, it's the same way. So they leave happy, knowing it's clean, they did a good job. But then like a month or two later, it will look exactly the same, and it's not us throwing it away. Some people do, just throw stuff on the ground. But a lot of times, it'll just float in off the ocean, and there's people going by in tankers and all of the huge, not steamships, but the, sometimes it's cruise ships, but a lot of it is the, just the workers like that are like transporting goods and services across the Atlantic Ocean. They just throw stuff in the ocean thinking it will never end up anywhere. So what's the point of caring about the earth? And what happens is all this stuff ends up back on the coast. And they clean it up, and a month or two later, it's back on the coast. And one of the ways in which the people there make money is when Europeans or do-gooders from the U.S. go down there and they arrange this massive cleanup, and it takes place and everyone gets paid, and the person goes away thinking, well, now they know the value of their environment. And it's not that, you know what I mean? Like they partially caused it, but not all the way caused it. And anyway, I just wanted to point that out. So it's almost like a scam that they're just like, they just let it, they don't clean it up because they wait for someone else to come along to pay them to clean it up. Otherwise they would have cleaned it up. But now it's like a weird interdependence of do-gooder, like liberal people like me coming and going, we should get a beach cleanup, you know what I mean? So it's just like a weird and horrible and vicious cycle. Like they just don't automatically clean it up now because they're waiting for the next big payday because it's such a poor community. And they're stuck between this massive river, which it takes 3 hours to go across the river. It's a massive, massive river. And then on one side, and then the other side is the ocean, like the Caribbean Sea, which leads to the Atlantic Ocean. So it's like literally the only way to get there is by boat. And we got there by boat. We were almost going to live there, but after 8 days, I couldn't stand the heat. So I got the hell out of that kitchen. It was really horrible. Anyway, so I just want to bring that up. A lot of people don't know about this. All right, so God, I want to ask more questions about there. Will a surprising solution show itself relating to the plastic floating in the island? The plastic floating islands in the ocean. Is it possible, besides the bacteria, will another surprising solution come and show itself to us? Is it going to be us cleaning it up and not the bacteria? Okay, so yes, I'm getting a yes. So it's not just us cleaning it up. So a surprising solution is definitely going to show itself? Yes. Awesome. Is it in the form of extraterrestrials helping us? I'm getting a no. Is it ETs? No. All right. So will all of the ocean life perish soon if this plastic island floating in the ocean situation isn't taken care of? The answer is no. See, there's some things that I was worried about. Now I feel good. I sit around and worry about the environment like all the time. Well, I'm glad I'm doing this episode because it's like, all right, a lot of the stuff's making me feel better. The carbon emission part, not so much. All right, now our next topic is the magnetosphere. Now the magnetosphere is the electromagnetic electromagnetic grid that surrounds our Earth. And what it does is it protects us from space dust, and it is part of our atmosphere that where things are being burned up upon entry, like when we have meteor showers and particulate matter. But the fact that the magnetosphere right now is cracked, and I think that might be directly tied to the Schumann Resonance. I think that's why it's going haywire, is because of this crack. What's happening is normally it will block out solar flares. It'll block out solar winds that come our direction, and any passing asteroid or bolide or anything that passes near us, it kind of lessens the effect of it. But now that we have a crack in the magnetosphere, we are getting bombarded with cosmic radiation constantly lately, the last year or two. It's been really, really bad, and it's gotten so bad. This is one of the tools that people that navigate in boats and planes use. The magnetic pole is part of the magnetosphere, and it's moving. It used to be in Canada, the magnetic North Pole. Now it's moving rapidly towards Siberia, and as it's doing that, it's wreaking havoc in airports all around the world, especially in Canada and South America and the United States. And planes have gotten wildly off course in South America recently because of this. And in Canada, I did mention a couple times before where they've had to repaint the lines, the runway, because of this in an airport in Canada. I want to say in Alberta, and we've seen from the Schumann Resonance news that I give every day, Alberta, Canada usually has massive amounts of Hertz frequency in the Schumann Resonance scale. Oh, I've forgotten, speaking of that, are we at 99? We are at 99 today in the Ascension Symptom Scale too, by the way. I forgot to mention that earlier. Okay, so my next set of questions is about the magnetosphere. Okay, because the magnetosphere has a massive crack in it. So I'd like to ask God, is the magnetosphere going to heal soon? I'm getting a yes. That's good. That's really good news. Is there anything that we need to do to heal it? No. It's gonna heal on its own? Yes. And I'm gonna write on its own. Do I have permission to ask about what timeline we can expect? Will it be more than 12 years? Will it be less than 12 years? Will it be less than 1 year? No. Is it going to be more than 1 year? Yes. All right, on a scale of 1 to 12, assuming there's a clock underneath my pendulum, how many years is it going to be before it heals? All right, it's going around in a circle. It's going back and forth. It's gone past 6. Is that 7? So the magnetosphere it'll take 7 years to heal. It's going to heal in 7 years. I'm writing that down. 7 years. That's a lot. We're going to have to go through a hell of a lot. Is the magnetosphere cracked so that we can go to 5D? So, okay, yes, I'm getting a massive yes. So, and I'm going to say, does this have to do with 5D? Yes, big yes. Big yes. Now, when it's fully healed again, will we all be in 5D? Yes. That's why. Is that why it's taking 7 years? The answer is yes. Okay, so 7 years after 5D. So it's closely related to that. That's nice. All right, now, because the magnetosphere is open and we're again bombarded with all this solar energy, cosmic radiation, solar flares, radiation from the grand central sun, and then it's being all collided together, all this energy, and compressed and shoved through the portal of our sun by the ETs to help us get really high vibration. So they're helping. I won't say helping, not helping, but they're helping. But at the same time, our magnetosphere is cracked, so I'm worried about that. So, all right, God, I'd like to ask this question. Will the crack in the magnetosphere lead eventually to a massive shutdown of society as the electricity shuts down? Of course, that'll mean the internet, Wi-Fi, electric trains, bus stations, airports, control towers, anything that runs on electricity is going to be completely dead in the water if, the solar flares hit at the wrong time. If a sunspot breaks off and comes and hits us. So I'd like to ask about that, and I'm getting a yes. I have the permission to ask about that. Okay, so is it possible with the massive crack in the magnetosphere, can this lead to a massive shutdown of society, electricity, Wi-Fi? I'm getting a yes. With the next solar flare, I'm getting yes. Big yes. Is it highly likely to happen? I'm getting a yes. Do you know if it's definitely going to happen? I'm getting a yes. Is it definitely going to happen? I'm getting a yes. Okay. Do I have permission to ask when it's going to happen? On a scale of 1 to 12 months, is it this year? I'm getting a yes. Tell me how many months. I'm getting 5 months. So we have to expect that in about 5 months. So in about 5 months, it's possible. Okay, how many weeks will we be without electricity on the clock face again? How many weeks will we be without electricity? I'm getting a yes, not an actual. All right. So will we be more than weeks? Okay, how many months will we be without electricity? I'm getting 2 months without electricity. So you guys are going to have enough food, canned food, and a way to cook it outside of electricity, and a way to store it outside of refrigeration. So I would go get, I would get 6 months food just to be safe. Is this going to happen more than once? No. is going to happen in the next year. And we said 5 months. Okay, I'm asking again. Yeah, 5 months. And we'll be without electricity for 2 months. So 5 months from now, what is this? This is September. So October, November, December, January, February. So in February, that's awfully cold in the northern hemisphere. Is this electricity shutoff going to be all over the planet? I'm getting a no. Is it going to be in Europe? I'm getting a yes. Okay, Europeans, you got to brace yourselves. Please be safe. Is this going to happen in Australia or New Zealand? I'm getting a no. Is this going to happen in the United States? I'm getting a yes. Is this going to happen in Central America? I'm getting a no. Is this going to happen in South America? I'm getting a no. Yay for me, but I'm really worried about you guys. Okay, so basically the northern hemisphere is going to get slammed, and so make sure, do your best to get 2 months worth of food, canned goods, grains, store them well. Oatmeal is always a good one because you could soak it with water. Thing is though, with water, you have to have 2 months worth of water, 1 gallon per person per day. I would buy baby wipes for showers, just to be honest. You know, maybe get 2 things of baby wipes per person. Because, water becomes a very precious resource at that point. It's going to be cold without electricity. So find a way to build a fire outside. You could cook with it. You could warm your house with it. If you could go on YouTube and find out how to heat your house with, like, you could put, like, outside, you can have a wood burning stove and then have pipes going into your house, like through your window. I mean, people have done a lot of crazy things, but there's ways to do it where it's safe. So I want to encourage you guys to be very safe about that. Don't be afraid, just be prepared. All right, so God, I'd like to ask another question, not related to solar flares, but related to the magnetosphere. Is this massive crack affecting people's ability to think? Yes. Is it affecting people's ability to function normally? Yes. All right. Yes and yes. Now, is it affecting people's hormones? Okay. Is the crack in the magnetosphere affecting people's hormones? No. Is it causing diseases? No. Okay, that's good. All right. Let's see what else. All right, that's all I have to ask about the magnetosphere. Now, okay, so good. We 10 topics in 45 minutes. That's not bad. All right, the next topic is the asteroids. We have been almost hit by asteroids the size of Taj Mahal, the size of the Empire State Building, the size of this building, and then the size of that building, and then the size of it's just a massive asteroid. And NASA keeps, like, not seeing these things. Bolides have, like, come into the upper atmosphere and exploded over, like, I think it was like the Crimean Sea a few months ago, and over Russia, it's happened a couple times, and over one other place, I want to say Belarus maybe is where it was, but 3 or 4 places on Earth, massive asteroids have come through and just, like, blown up in the upper atmosphere, but, like, it's like they're detonating. It's almost like a massive bomb went off, and then they find the residual of it and they're like, oh my God, we missed that. I mean, so much is happening in our upper atmosphere, like beyond Earth's atmosphere, that it's been really kind of creepy, to hear, oh, well, another asteroid's coming by. Oh, look, another one's coming. This is really creepy and really scary. We are in a different part of the galaxy than we were before. From where I grew up to where we are now, we're in a whole different part of the universe. So it's gotten scary because we're now going through maybe where there's a lot more asteroids, right? So I want to call it the Van Allen belt, but I don't know if that's true. I think that's a lot more cosmic radiation, but than asteroids, but there's something we're going through, and it's very, very weird. Okay, God, here's my question. Asteroids the size of large buildings keep narrowly escaping us. So the first question I have is, will one ever hit Earth? So do I first ask about this? Okay, will an asteroid ever hit Earth? The answer is no. Thank you, God. So if one did hit Earth, would it definitely cause an ELE, an extinction level event? No. Is that because it's not going to hit Earth? Yes. So we're not going to have an extinction. I mean, yes, it could, but no, we're not going to get one. All right. So one is not going to hit Earth. No, that's not going to cause an extinction level event, which was the movie Impact. One of my favorite movies. It was also very scary. That will not happen. So should we be concerned about one hitting Earth? And is there anything we should do about it? So I'm getting no and no. So we should not be concerned about it. And, no. Okay, cool. So there we go. That's the 10 topics I picked for tonight about Earth-related changes. And that was my answers for the pendulum. I did wash my pendulums energetically. I washed them with water to make sure they were clear before I did this. Like a couple days ago I did this. Washed them. So I don't know. There you have it, guys. It's pretty crazy stuff, right? I don't know. A lot more things I could ask, I suppose. On another day I'll try to do more. But pendulum, I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm used to doing it and making my mind a complete blank. But I've noticed that when I don't clear the energy from the previous reading, then I could get some like mixed messages with it. And so it's, excuse me, I get very tired. It's kind of a lot like Organite. Like if you have Organite in your home, it will soak up all the negative energy around and make you feel great. And then after about a week, it starts to dissipate the energy back into the environment. And so you'll get that negative energy again. So you have to keep your crystals and your rocks, pretty well, cleansed. If they're not going to melt with water like selenite does, you could just rinse them for like a minute, and that clears it right up. But you could also use smudge, smoke. You could blow on it, put it in the wind, put it in the sun. But it's just easier to just run underwater. But if it is selenite, then smoke, or put in a plastic bag and bury it in the earth, or I guess you just bury it in the earth, but then you have to wash it off. And it's selenite; it's like salt, so don't do that with that. But you could bury something in the earth for like 30 days. Pull it right back out in 30 days. It'll be cleansed by the vibrations of the earth. But there's a lot of vibrations in the earth that are stuck, so I wouldn't recommend that, just to be honest. Especially if you live on top of where a battleground had happened. That's all over the place. It's all over the place. You got to be careful, You could clear the land. There's ways to clear the land. I've done episodes on it. Anyway, guys, that's it. I'm getting tired. I'm putting this out 2 hours too late anyway. 3 hours too late. Sorry about that. Stupid internet issues, and it was raining all day, and it wasn't thundering or lightning much, but it was just raining and dark, dark, dark Eeyore gray clouds. I mean, the earth feels like it's being renewed here, so I'm glad about that, but it's kind of depressing, the gray clouds. So anyway, I might have to do cloud busting tomorrow. If this keeps up, I'm going to have to go out and change the weather because I'm getting tired of it. At least change it for an hour. But, all right, well, I do want to put in a call once more, like I'm going to do every day. I'm going to keep hounding you guys until I start getting enough stories. I do need, for Halloween, our special Halloween episode coming up, for metaphysical ghost speak, I do need your spirit stories, your ghost stories, whether it's about relatives that appeared after they died, or if they were already dead for years but they came back to warn you, or if they appeared in your home, or even if they weren't even relatives, if you were, at a funeral in a cemetery and you saw a ghost, or have you ever visited a haunted place? Anything to do with spirits or ghost stories. I've got one that's gonna just curl the hair on your toes, and I cannot wait to tell you guys on Halloween. It's so freaking spooky. But it's one that I kept trying to get through to Art Bell for years because I wanted to tell him, because I knew it was going to freak him out, and I never got through on Ghost to Ghost to AM. But I'm going to continue his tradition, even though George Norrie is keeping up with that tradition now. I'm going to go through with this, and I'm going to keep up his tradition of ghost stories on Halloween. And it's a tradition in my family because of Art Bell, actually. So God bless him. God rest his soul. And maybe we'll try to do some EVPs with Art Bell. I'll definitely try to. Definitely try to do that. So, yeah, so send me in your ghost stories, okay? And also, I want to hear, for Christmas, any supernatural or oh my God, I can't even talk. I'm trying to say miracle in Spanish, milagro, and miracle, I'm like milagro? No, wait. Milagros is miracles in Spanish, miracles. So yeah, if you guys have any Christmas miracles, any stories of Santa Claus, if you've seen the spirit of Santa Claus, or you think you saw the reindeers flying across the sky on Christmas Eve, I want to do a very Merry Christmas special about that topic. Christmas miracles that have no other explanation. Like something happened this last Christmas. I have to talk to my son about it. I ended up with a gift that he did not give me, and he thought that our neighbor maybe broke into our house and left it. But I was up all night because I was painting a gift for my neighbor. So I was in the living room the whole time, and a gift appeared for me that I didn't put there. My son didn't put there, and I was in the living room the whole time. And I know my neighbor didn't put there, so, because my door was always locked. I thought maybe he picked the lock and came in and gave it, and he said he didn't do anything. And I was like, whoa. I can't remember what it was now. It's kind of weird. I can't remember. I want to say it was a necklace or something, but it wasn't that. And actually, a couple times I've had miracle, gifts show up. So if you've ever had like miracle gifts show up like that, just, my Christmas miracles, I'm going to tell you guys, I didn't tell them just now. They're pretty huge, crazy huge. Not huge, but like enough where you're like, whoa, head scratcher. Like, that's pretty crazy. But anyway, I want to hear your Christmas miracles that you've had in the past. I want to inspire other people with your stories, if that's okay with you. So send all of them to metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com. You could send me clips, like voice clips, to anchor.fm/metaphysical, either online or just download the Anchor app and send them to me. You could always delete the Anchor app after if you want, but it's a pretty cool app if you want to make a podcast for sure. But anyway, I just want to know what your Christmas stories, your Christmas miracles are. I'm really, really, really fascinated by this topic. All right. Well, that's all I gotta say about that, guys. I'm going to hound you every day, though, until I start getting these stories in. I have more listeners than ever. Thank you guys for spreading the word. I now have an estimate of 90 repeat people that continuously listen. So you are like literally at the ground floor of this Metaphysical Soul Speak podcast. I'm so happy to have you here listening, and thank you for being with me and on this ascension journey with me. I will keep up the information on all of the news, from astrology to ascension to symptoms of ascension to the Schumann Resonance and the earth and world news changes and spiritual realm changes and chakra changes. I'm going to keep you guys up to date on everything. I'm fascinated by this stuff, and I hope you are too. So, well, that's it. I'll be back tomorrow with all original and unique programming, just like always. And right now, I'm signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the holy fifth dimension. Until next time, peace. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.